Leo, you're nearly at the end of a block and you're clocking up the wins. Are you kind of happy with the work in progress?
Yeah, in terms of the outcome, like we're delighted to get a bonus point win in a Leinster Munster game. Like it doesn't happen that often, does it? So there's parts of the game clearly we can look back on, where we create a lot of opportunities in the first half and we're not particularly clinical in terms of finishing them off. And then we get ourselves in a situation where Munster again with 14 men again twice in the first 47 minutes. And then suddenly they're ahead in the game. So we show better composure probably from then on, both sides of the ball. So before up to that point, we're probably just a little bit impatient at times. So we're forcing certain things in the game. We're falling on the wrong side of some calls with the officials, and so we just it's the composure part that we're lacking. But having said that, to come away with the 4 tries is a positive outcome for us. And the points haul up to this point is again it's positive. We've used a fair few players. It's always tricky to start the season. History will, if you go back and look when particularly coming off tours, you have a lot of moving parts coming and going at the start of the season. So to get whatever 6 wins is pleasing, particularly the fact that 3 of them are into pro games as well. So we've a break now, as in a break apart. The group breaks apart. So some guys are going to camp next week. Other guys will hopefully carry on some of the good work that's been done over the last X amount of weeks. And they get a great opportunity to go away to Scarlets and play, which is again, like we said, there's the same amount of points up for grabs next week, so it's important that we're battling out. And the league is going to be incredibly tight. Like you can see, there's a cluster of teams, particularly in the middle of the table, where there's a huge amount of consequences. So every team is going to be battling out every week because of the qualification for the top 8, but there's also qualification for Champions Cup, which if we were to lose out and not qualifying for Champions Cup, like it's a pretty big thing, isn't it? So that's what we're up against other teams that are in that situation now. So we're pleased that we are up and running. We've got the 6 wins on the board, which is great. But there's definitely a hell of a lot more in the group, I think.
You left a lot of chances go, particularly in the first half. Was that down to inaccuracies by ye, or were they forced mistakes by good defending?
Well, it's a bit of both, I think, isn't it? So you got to give Munster a huge amount of credit. Like you see them there at the end in terms of battered bodies coming off the field. Like they've thrown everything at us, which is what you want to see. Like isn't the provincial derby game? So they have a lot of young guys there in their 23 today. They've a fair few injuries as we talked about leading into the game. I thought they dug in. They scrambled unbelievably well. Scrapped for Everton, particularly close to the goal line, and we weren't quite accurate enough. So there's some of it is in our control, yeah, for sure. And that's the bit we need to get better at when you play these big games, big stadium, big crowd. So yeah, there's plenty in the game. So there was plenty of learning from our point of view. And yeah, like it's not just going to happen, is it? So then we get guilty of trying to force things. Guys are pushing the pass, whereas we just lack that bit of patience and control at certain stages. But there's a hell of a lot of good work because we get ourselves into unbelievable good positions and make a ton of line breaks during the course of the game.
How's Jamie Osborne doing after that big hit he took in the first half?
Yeah, he was struggling there, yeah. So like it's a fair old impact that he took. I'm sure you've all seen it. So
do you think was the yellow card sufficient punishment?
What do you think?
Let's ask you that question.
I'm curious. Yeah, I'll find out exactly what the official line is on it.
What's your line on it?
I will find out because again, there's lots of decisions in the game which I'll always ask the question because I honestly don't know. There's certain things that have happened in the game. I'm questioning them, so I'll ask that array of questions as we normally would. So, but yeah, there was, as I said, there was a lot in that game. Lots going on. There's certain things I'm like why are we not getting some of these calls, or why are certain calls going against us? So yeah, we'll ask the questions. Yeah. Tig is okay. Yeah. Yeah. So He rolled his ankle on Thursday. Honestly, when we were sitting here yesterday doing the meeting, I thought he was going to be okay. He didn't do the team run. He was pretty confident. He wanted to give it till this morning. We were. He was confident he'd be okay. Woke up this morning. There's still a bit of swelling there, so anyway, it's the right decision. So it wasn't worth the risk. Different type of game, different type of time of the year. he would have played. That was my take on things. So made the call, but we gave him as much time as we could. But anyway, made the call then. So, but it's not too bad.
Was Kieran Foley injured, or it's not a practical?
He'd have banged the shoulder, but he wasn't too bad. Yeah, but I just thought Ross would be good on there. Just different pair of eyes in the middle of the field. You saw Gary did pretty well when he played on the wing the last day. Man the match after coming off the bench, so he did well. And even this there at the end, you see some of his work off the wing. He's phenomenal. So it was a little bit of both as well.
Were you happy with Kieran's performance? He seemed to adapt very, very well.
Yeah, and Jamie as well on the wing. I thought he was going really well before he went off. So, and that's the thing. Like, it's a little bit of a makeshift back three. And go back to probably the very first question. Like, we're just lacking a little bit of cohesion because we have chopped and changed. So some of the combinations have changed. That's some of us around selection as well, that we want to see certain combinations. So you take a little bit of a risk with that. We've had a lot of players that are up and running now, which is good. When guys again, as I said, we'll split apart for this period, the next few weeks. We've our game against Scarlets. That's the sole focus really for us now. Trying to get as much as we possibly can out of that week, with X amount of players gone. So, but most teams are hit, and that's the potluck about the schedule, isn't it? Like who you get on these international window weeks, where some players are missing, or some teams are missing a ton of players, other teams are missing next to nobody. So, there's potluck there. But anyway, that's the challenge.
At half time, would you have been happy with a bonus point?
Yes. Very delighted, particularly at 13-7. I would have been even happier because they were with 14 men at that stage as well. And then John, they're kicking the conversion, and John Klein's running back on post his yellow card. So they're back to 15, and we're 13-7 down at that stage. So yeah, to show the composure there at that point, I thought it was pleasing.
So generally, the first half, you wouldn't have been totally happy with that performance.
No, but there's things that it's some of the scramble. Like we get held up over the try line a couple of times. Turn the ball over close to the try line a few times. Some of that's Munster pressure. Some of that's our own. As we said, lack of composure and accuracy. Call it what you want. But you get that from a pressurised environment as well, and a team that's doing everything they can to stay in the game, and fighting tooth and nail to hang in there. I thought Munster did incredibly well in that regard.